Start recording. Okay. So yeah, when you're saving as PDF, it's gonna be under File Export. That's where you'll find it. I'm sure CS6 has it. I used to have CS6. We worked with CS6 for the longest time before we switched to the Creative Cloud. So not much has changed other than there's this share button now, which lets you create share for review. Again, that's for like when you're working with an agency and you have someone that's in charge of your projects. They're assigning projects out to all the designers. You share that, and they could tell you, okay, what needs to be changed and stuff. Um, but let me know though. I don't know if CS6. I really doubt it's gonna have it. But this is what it looks like. You click this link. You share this link with um, anyone that's involved in the project. Uh, this is asking me to sign in, but that's okay. We don't have to sign in because I could just change this to, instead of invite only, make that public, and then we can click that. Now we don't have to sign in. So anyone with the link, even if they don't have Adobe account, will be able to click the link and then see the project. So um, I don't know, maybe they have a comment like they don't like this font or something. They could just say change the font, right? And then you might have to sign in as a guest. Actually, let's continue as a guest, just David. And then you don't have to sign in or anything. It just says, David said change the font. And then let's say we change the font. Also, you could leave like a mark where you want the change to be. Let's say you leave a pin right here. We want to change the font on that one. Once it gets resolved, change this font. So when you hover over this, it says change this font. Let me delete the other one. So change this font. Okay, say I'm the designer, I'm working on this. I'm going to I think my layers are locked because this is a lesson file. Let me make sure my layers are unlocked. You can lock and unlock layers. There's a little lock button right here. Just make sure, it lets you make sure nobody can edit whatever's on that layer. So I unlocked it. Now I can click on this and say I changed the font to something other than Chaparral Pro. Maybe also you don't just change fonts one by one in InDesign. Most likely there is some kind of style applied to this. If we go into paragraph styles or character styles, you'll notice there's no character style applied. It says none here, but under paragraph style we got heads. Heads is applied to this. If I double click on heads, we can see what formats are on it. So there's the general formats, like not much there, but basic character formats. We got our font family and the font size and everything. Here, if I change this to a different font, let's say I don't know, Magneto. Click OK. You see now not just this one changed, but all of the heads changed because all of the heads have heads applied to them. Let's see if there's more pages. The other pages are empty, but pretty much the two places that heads was applied, the font updated, and then I can just save this. I'll just save over my end file. That's okay. Then I forgot if we need to update. Yeah, we do need to update. So click this button and just say update link. Now whoever's looking at this link, I already have it open here. So they were saying change the font. Let's refresh it. You see the font has been changed, And me as the designer, I can go in and say, all right, this was resolved. So I'll click this and oh, I might have to be signed in order to be able to resolve it though. So as the designer, you might need to sign in. So you could click resolve. Although I did see the resolve button earlier. I'm not sure why it's not there anymore. It might be because I'm the one that made the comment. So no, but that's not it either. Anyways, there should be a resolve button. Here, let me try signing in. I forgot my Adobe username and stuff, but let me just take one guess. If I can't, then I'll just show you this another time. Also, since I'm recording, let me pause. Alright, so after signing in, we can see here there's a resolve button. So when I click resolve, you can see alright, the little pin is gone. We know that that comment is taken care of, so we can move on to whatever other comments they've left for us. If you ever want to go back to previously resolved stuff, you can always filter here the resolved and then it'll come back. So it's really useful for reviewing documents and just quickly getting work done. You really need this. Otherwise, constantly emailing someone saying, all right, let me know what changes I need to make. That would take forever. This makes things a lot more convenient, creates a much better workflow. So, did someone just pop in? Nope, nobody knew, I don't think. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So, um, but yeah, Angelica, if you're gonna try to share your work, that's a great idea. Why don't we do it that way? For whoever can, if you have CS6, I guess you might not be able to do this. This is for Creative Cloud, so this is that one thing that I think was added that's pretty useful in later versions of Adobe. But check if you have some sort of share for review button even on CS6. I doubt it, but just check anyway. Let me know if you do have it or not. Alright, so yeah, let's move on to your projects. See what was submitted. I have it open on my other screen here, just in case. I am recording, so I'm trying to avoid showing names and stuff. So that's why I'm downloading these and not just showing it through Google Classroom. Right, so alright, so the one that I did have open, this is Eric's. Okay, so as for a one-page layout, and this looks good. We got a couple images. Oops. Top 3 tallest trees in the world. Hyperion Redwood. Redwood National Park. I thought it was the General Sherman, but I've been there. I don't know if I've been to this specific tree, but honestly, it was disappointing. It wasn't as big as I was hoping the tree to be. It was like not that tall. It was really like wide trunk and everything, but not that tall. I wish there was taller trees. That would be cool. Um, let's see, Manara tree, Danam Valley Conservation Area in Malaysia, and then there's a Centurion in Tasmania. So I'm guessing you used a grid layout. I think you did. It kind of looks like you did. I would guess it's a 3-column grid. 1, 2, 3. This one takes up 2 columns. This takes up 1 column. 1 column, 2 column, 2 column, 1 column. And you've got 1, 2, 3 rows. Anyways, nice job. Let's move on to another one. Let's see this one. Actually, let me download a few of them in the background. If you submitted an InDesign file, try to submit a PDF real quick because the PDF will be easier for me to download. It should be a smaller file size for the PDF, I think. Also, we'll avoid any issues you might have with broken links and stuff. And let me know if my voice gets choppy. I hear the rain getting really strong again, so that might mess up my internet. Just leave a comment in the chat if it's getting bad. Or just say it. Alright, so we saw this one. That was Eric. Let's delete that one. Okay. This one is... Who is this one? They just got shuffled around. This one is JB. Okay, so we got our main title, lorem ipsum. Is that you downloaded that font or something? Looks like a unique font. But yeah, we got an image. We got 3-column layout again. It's good. Got using some features here like drop caps. I'm curious how you added the pictures here. Did you just probably just dropped an image, right? Okay, very nice. We can delete that one. Next one is this one. This is Al. Missibis. I don't know how to say it. Missibis Bay, your tropical island getaway. Tucked away in the province of Albay, known for its perfectly shaped Mayan volcano. Is that the perfectly shaped volcano back there? And they've got a resort and stuff. Okay, cool. I don't know if you used this one's got less text than it is. This is more of like a cover page, but one page layout nonetheless. So that's what I was looking for. Let's download this one real quick. This is Ralph, King of the Hill. Alright, so again, making use of I think making use of a grid. It looks like it kinda, maybe not exactly, but I would not make columns of text this narrow. It is good to break up like large blocks of text to I don't know, it makes it easier to read and keeps it more interesting, but maybe there's too much broken up. It's just too narrow. Maybe just make it one. I'll just make it 2 columns total instead of 5. Let's move on. Okay, this one is Ramil. It's a magazine cover.
Yep.
All right. So um, for this one, I would say don't put the text that close to the edge of that background color. It's good to keep text away from the edge of the paper. You're doing that. I can see that that's the edge of the paper. The text is far from there, but also you made like a box and you made the text like right up against the edge of it. Just a general design rule. Don't do that. And also make sure this text is readable because you can't really read what that says. I mean, if you look carefully, you can, but you don't want to make text that you have to squint to try to read what it says. Especially if you print this, it might get even worse and impossible to read, even in some of these areas. So yeah, use contrasting colors or just avoid putting text over like areas that have too many things going on. Okay,
Got it. Thanks.
welcome. Leandro, let's check this one next. Leandro's not with us right now, but he is in the morning, so Mount Everest getting to the top. All right, simple, 3 column with an image. Hopefully these will get more interesting as I make the assignments more difficult, or at least not difficult, but it's bigger. This is Yanks. Very cool. We got a Gundam. From all the giant robot things, this one's the one I recognize, I guess. um, Very nice. I think for the most part it looks good, but also suffering from some of the contrast issues. Although I see you tried to remedy that with the background, the drop shadow. It does help. Um, Although I think what might work better than the drop shadow is just like maybe like a transparent box behind the text. Transparent black box might work better than a drop shadow, I think. But looks pretty good. I think the overall design looks nice. Let's see, this one is Masaki. And what's going on here? Are these models? Oh yeah, Amiri Spring Summer 22 man. He's an escapist dreamscape alive with blissful possibility. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, Paris fashion. They are models, as I suspected. Um, yeah, overall cool design. Uh, I'd simplify maybe some of what's going on in this image here. Like you got the outline plus the drop shadow. I don't know. I'd make things a little bit more subtle. Like maybe no black outline, and for the shadow, make it more transparent. Not so harsh. It's really dark shadow. I think it would look nicer if it was barely a shadow. This one is Katrina Sirgao. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Was rewarded for being the best island in the world, 2018, 2019. Since then, it has become the most popular island in the Philippines. How do you say that? Sirago. The island is more commonly known for its world-class surf breaks, such as Cloud9, though there are plenty of fantastic things to do other than surfing. Um, okay, pretty cool, simple. We got um, was that Comic Sans? I don't know if that's the font you meant, but this is what it'll default to if you're missing a font sometimes. Um, if you try to edit like a font and it's missing, it might default to this one sometimes. Um, I would get rid of the blue background on that text. I don't think it's necessary. Although I kind of see what you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to go with the same color as this. You can always use the eyedropper, get exactly that color, and maybe put some spacing around that, which I haven't showed you how to do yet, but we'll look at that. So keep text away from the borders. Same thing I mentioned earlier. Okay. Next is Marianne. Travel destination, Santorini, Greece. Okay, we got a nice big image on the top, and then nice big heading, or oh, the main heading or the main subject, bigger font, all caps, and then we have travel destination colon. So very common, good pattern to use with your text. Your important stuff bigger, maybe all caps, and then you have a hierarchy here. So um, very nice, simple, but no complaints. Everything's good here. And this one is Rovi. Okay. By the way, these are crop marks. It's good to have these when you're printing or when you're, finalizing a project. You're sending it to the printer. You should always have these. Maybe if you're gonna do, if it's meant to be like a um, digital project, then it's never gonna be printed. Then disable those. Okay, so Discover California, Los Angeles, renowned as the entertainment industry. Very colorful. I like that. It's what you're doing here matches the background, all being colorful here, but it's really hard to read. So I would find better contrasting colors here. Maybe put backgrounds or drop shadows, and also I think it might look a little more elegant if some of these were transparent and not completely solid. Um, but yeah, other than that, looks good. And I think did I see everyone's that's been submitted so far? No, I haven't seen.
Mine.
I don't think I saw this one. Who said mine?
Me.
Darwin? Maybe I have to refresh because I don't see yours. Yeah, I still don't see yours, Darwin. Where did you submit it? Did you?
I'm in 195. That's why. If you're checking at 190.
How are you in 195?
Because I already got 190.
Oh, well, that's news to me. I didn't know I'm teaching 195 right now.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's the same. I don't know if there's any difference between the two.
Yeah, there's no separate Google Classroom that I see for 195. Are you like using like an older Google Classroom?
No, hold on. Let me go there. Classroom.
In the meantime, let me look at Angelica's real quick.
No, it's not CGD 190. 5, it's just InDesign, Winter 2023.
Yeah, that's where everyone is. So if you
Well,
turned
I
it in,
submitted mine. Oh no, I didn't turn it in. I uploaded, but I didn't turn it. I'm turning it now. I'm
uh,
turning
uh
it now.
okay,
There you go.
all right. And then Angelica, I've got yours. Looks like you submitted a JPEG. JPEG's fine. It's just I can't highlight the text and stuff. Not that I need to highlight it. If it's just a preview, I guess that's fine. Um, but submitting it for printer, they usually request like a PDF. Anyways, let's look at this. We've got a two-page. I'm guessing it's a two-page spread. Probably a left and a right
Yes,
side.
it's a two-page, and I'm having trouble exporting it to PDF file. So I just used snipping tool because that's the quickest, so I can submit it.
You should use the snipping tool.
Yeah, I was in a hurry.
Is
I
it
was in a hurry.
is it
Okay,
because is it like
I submit.
is
Yeah,
it
I
because you have
submitted
one
it
here,
in
one
the.
here? That's the problem. You wanted it next to each
Yeah,
other.
yes.
We'll go over that.
I
That's
submitted in design. What's this dot ID? What's that? So
INDD.
IDD, yeah. So it's hard to upload. It's a big file, so you're gonna take time
It's
downloading
fine.
it. So
We'll just use the JPEG, but I'll go over how to take care of this. It's kind of tricky fixing these. You probably have it like for example, here you want to put this page next to this one, but it doesn't stay. It just shuffles around. There's actually an option here. It's called allow document pages to shuffle. Just turn that off, and then you could drag it there, and then I don't know why all three of them went. Just this one. Drag that there, and you can have them next to each other, so whenever it prints, it'll be the way you want it. But we'll look at that later. So we got a two-page spread, two columns here, one column here. The Arizona is kind of just floating. Might look accidental if you do that. I don't know. I'll keep it either completely aligned to the right with the rest of this text, or on the left side, or dead center. Kind of looks weird. It's like not exactly in the middle, not exactly on the right side. Maybe fix that. And then here, looks like you did add drop shadow to help make this more readable. But again, I think what would work better here is a transparent black, like square background on this instead of the drop shadows. It's because it's still hard to read like this. It's really busy looking. Okay. Um, and then last but not least, Darwin. I see. Okay, yours just got submitted. Also, anyone else that submitted it, I haven't looked at it yet. Remind me, because I think this is the last one that I haven't seen so far. All right, welcome to Venice Beach. All right, so we got very bright yellow. I wouldn't say bright, but yellow orange background gradient. Um, and we got a three-column layout. One of Los Angeles' most vibrant and well-known communities. Venice attracts both local and out-of-town visitors. Okay, and we got an image here with some text wrapping happening. Okay, that's cool. Right in the middle. I think that's a good. Most of the design choices are nice here. The only complaints I have are maybe some, like I wouldn't put a black outline on this box here, and um, I wouldn't use. I don't know. Maybe this is just my personal preference, but I don't like the gradient background. Maybe make it lighter, closer to white or transparent or something.
This is sunshine. That's why.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah, it's like a sunset, sunsetting on the beach, like that.
I guess printed in as part of a full magazine or full brochure or something would look better. But definitely get rid of that outline on the blue though.
Oh yeah, I got you there.
Okay. And the image, maybe it's just the export, but looks a little bit pixelated. Make sure you use high-res images for your
Well,
projects.
Nelson provided that image, so I just that was one of the resources.
I see. Anyways, did I look at everyone's? Am I missing anything?
Mine, David. I don't have. I'm sorry. I
No,
don't
I
have
mean
mine yet.
anyone that submitted it, I haven't seen yet. What's this? Mylene? I don't think we looked at this one. This looks new to me. This one I don't think we looked at yet. Two column layout with images. What should we change on this one? I feel like the text here is, I mean, I guess it's equally spaced from this image and this image, but I'll bring it down a little bit. It looks kind of like almost full, but not completely. I don't know. And like a lot of empty areas here. Maybe maybe bring the text closer together here, and then I don't know, fill it with something, some random design. Maybe um a pull quote, like a block quote, or some kind of title. It's missing headings. Just throw in some headings. I think you could fill in those empty spaces, or modify the images, make them slightly taller to fill in the gaps. What else? That I think that's it. I don't see any other new ones. Yep. Yeah, but if you submitted it later, it's fine. We could always look at it another time. Okay, so let's begin today's lesson finally. Let me make sure I get rid of these apps. So hopefully everyone has InDesign by now. If it's not the Creative Cloud, you have at least CS6. Although you'll be missing some features I might want to use, but nothing like for just the review tools that I mentioned might be missing. Okay. Right. So CS6 is fine. This lesson right here actually is from CS6. I'm missing some fonts here, it looks like. Chaparral Pro. I will go ahead and activate these. So before you start working, it'll give you this warning if you're missing fonts. At least the Creative Cloud. If you have CS6, you probably won't get this because you're not connected to Adobe. You might have to manually look for those fonts on the internet and download them and install them. I'm not gonna auto activate. I'll just skip that. But yeah, now we have our fonts available. By the way, if you're missing a font, you can always go to type, find and replace font. It'll tell you what you're missing here. You could just click on it and replace it with something else. Right now I'm not missing anything, so we're not seeing the one that says what you're missing. It would show you here somewhere, but either way though, if you have fonts that you want to replace, you could select, let's say, Chaparral Pro Bold. Say find first. It'll highlight it for you. Say, okay, here's Chaparral Pro Bold. Find next. It'll keep finding them. We could say find or change all. If you want to change all of them together, pick what you want to change it to here. Let's say MT extra, whatever that is. Change all. And you see they all changed. Actually, I should not have used MT extra because that's a weird font. What's night in Tokyo? Let's change empty extra now to night in Tokyo. Change all. Okay, done. Okay, so now they all changed to this font. Right. This lesson is on Google Classroom if you want to download it. And this is a lesson from Adobe InDesign Classroom in a Book CS6. So you should be able to find that pretty easily if you go to Google, say InDesign CS6 Classroom in the Book. Because it's like old already, just type Classroom in the Book not CC, CS6. Although you could probably find newer versions as well. But CS6 specifically, what is this? WordPress.com. Maybe avoid WordPress. Let's do PDF drive. What's this website? Okay, no. These are trying to sell it. I would be careful though. I don't want to go to like, okay, there we go, right there. There's the whole book right there. PearsonCMG.com. Let's click that one. There's the whole classroom in the book. If we click on table of contents, I guess it doesn't have links, but we'd have to manually scroll down to lesson 1 or lesson 2. I think this is getting to know InDesign. There it is. Eat, and then it goes through what you're supposed to do for this lesson. But you don't need to do all that. We'll just look at the before and the after and try to get it to look like that. So this is the start file. Let
David,
me.
can you post the link for the book on the Google Classroom?
Sure.
Thank you.
I just posted it. So there's the full textbook link, but again, we don't really need to use it. I'm just gonna open the start file, and let me close this and reopen it without saving, since I don't know why the revert button was grayed out. Okay, so this is the start file. Did I upload the end file or just the start file? See, lesson files, lesson 2 zip. No, I think that should be the whole lesson 2. So we should have the other parts. Although, oh, I see. I didn't actually download it. I'm just using the one I already had. So again, it's kind of weird when you're downloading files from Google Classroom. There's no download link here. You have to click the 3 buttons, open in a new window. Then you see a download button. I don't know why it's like that, but that's what you gotta do. So once that's downloaded, hopefully it doesn't take too long. Let me I'm gonna stop streaming my face if I'm still doing that, so I could kind of speed up my internet. Extract. So there's lesson 2. So this is what you should have if you downloaded lesson 2. Go ahead and close this one and open this one that I just downloaded. So there's the start file and there's the end file. All right, so let's talk about update links. So whenever you open a file and you're missing some links, it's going to tell you this document contains links to sources that have been missing, modified. Remember, whenever you have an InDesign project, you could choose to either embed your images or you can have them linked. Most of the time, they're going to be linked, and you'll see the links in the links panel. So when it's linked, it just means it's like this. You see here, we have this eat.docx. It's a Word file here. And then berries.psd. So it's a Photoshop file that's linked. It's not actually embedded. So in order for the InDesign file to show you the images, it has to link to them because they're not actually embedded in the file. If I were to send you just the InDesign file, the INDD, and I didn't send you the berries and eat docx, they would be missing and you might get a lower quality version of the image. That's why there's the whole file package option in InDesign. It packages it up for you and puts it in one folder like this. But in this case, it says the link is missing. I'm gonna say don't update, but if I said update, it would just automatically try to find it and update it. If it can't, then you'd have to manually go in. But right now, I'm just gonna click don't update, and then I'll show you. Let's see, we got another missing fonts here. I'm gonna skip this as well. I'm not gonna activate them. I'll try to do this all after. So we can see here berries.psd in my links is missing. There's a little triangle here. Berries.psd is down here on one, two, the fourth spread, or we just open the pages, we could see that this is actually page 9. On page 9, there's this berries.psd. It is missing, although you could still see the image. It's just might be a lower quality version than what you might get if you. Although that's not bad, that's pretty high quality image right there. But if we look here, berries PSD, we can also go to link. It'll take us to it. If you right click and say go to link, it'll just bring you to it. And then if you hover over this, it says modified, double click to update. So that's probably the simplest way. If I double click, you see it updated already. What changed? Well, in this case, the link is not missing. It's just, it's been modified and it needs to be updated. I think that was the issue. Although I don't see any difference though. If we look at the location down here, when you select it, you can tell the path is downloads lesson 2 berries.psd. That is where it is, so it's not actually missing the link. Maybe I didn't read that carefully when I opened this. I think what it was saying is the link has been modified. Let's just double click and open it again. It says contains sources that have been missing modified. So it doesn't say specific, it says missing or modified. And then down here it says 0 missing, 1 modified. So yeah, so it just means it has been modified. That means someone may have, let's update it. So I'll double click to update it, right? And then I could save this. I'll just save over it, close it, open it again. Since I updated it and saved it, I shouldn't get that missing link. Missing fonts, I'm still missing because I never activated it, but it doesn't say that the file has been modified anymore because I already updated the modification and I saved it, so we don't get that warning. But if I go in and open this berries.psd in Photoshop, so I'm just double clicking it to open it up in Photoshop. This time I'll make a more obvious change. So here it is in Photoshop. And let's do this. Let's go to layers. I don't want to make any permanent changes. I'll just add a new hue saturation adjustment layer, and I'll modify it so it looks green now. Okay, that looks kind of delicious. I'm gonna close this and save it. Say okay. All right, so now if we look at the links, again, we get that modified. Double click to update. If I close this and I try open it again, lesson 2, I'm just double clicking to open the end file again. I'm gonna say don't update links again and skip activating fonts. And then let's go to it. Double click or right click, go to link, takes us to page 9. We see it's still red here. So it's still showing us the non-updated version. But if we go to here and we double click this, now we get the new version where it's green. So I updated the link. Right, so that's updating links. And so these are all linked files here. We look at these here, it says, actually these are embedded. This is the only one that's linked. You could embed this as well. Now it's embedded and no longer needs the berries.psd to show it properly. But again, embedding, the downside is that you're increasing the file size. However large this file is by itself, this is a 5 megabyte file, I guess, then embedding it means that the end file is going to grow 5 megabytes. So keeping everything linked keeps the file size smaller, but you have to package the whole thing together. Alright, so let's look at what are the differences. I'm gonna undo these changes. Gonna go back to berries.psd and delete that layer that I added that modified the color. This is why I did it with the adjustment layer, so it's not permanent. Back to normal, save it. And this is back to normal. Alright, so we have our start file and our end file. Now a good way to compare both of them is to say view fit spread in window. Since we're working with spreads, 2-page spread, let's do fit spread in window, or Control Alt 0. On a Mac, it's probably Control or Shift Option something. It's a little bit different. Here it's Control Alt 0, but try similar buttons on the Mac. Control Option maybe. But that fits the page. It fits the spread so that you can like get a nice comparison of the two. You can also do window and then arrange 2 up vertical. This will put them next to each other. So we can like scroll through and kind of compare what's different here. On the first page, nothing is really different. Everything's the same. This is, I should probably put here, I'm gonna rearrange this. Window arrange, 2 up vertical. Here's our start file, here's our end file. Nothing's different on the next page, I don't think. Nothing's different here. It's this one that's different. Okay, so on the third spread, which is page 8 Actually, that's the fourth spread. Page 8 and 9. View or Control Alt 0. Control Alt 0. We can see that there's some text missing here. There's also a worm missing. And some text in the worm here. Eat healthy, eat local, that's missing. And some drop shadows are missing. The image is missing. So let's look at how we can add all of that into this. Any questions so far before we begin this? Because so far I've just been going over some other stuff you haven't actually had to follow along yet, really. Just explaining stuff. But any questions before we get into this? Also, let me give you guys a minute to download this if you don't have it. It's and in case you miss the lesson right now that I'm going over, this classroom in the book goes over the same thing here. It'll tell you like step by step what you need to do here. Like, for example, I think that's the end of the file already. Let's go back. Getting started. They're using Adobe Bridge here. We're not going to use Adobe Bridge. I don't like really using it, but Adobe Bridge is, you go to File, Browse in Bridge. It's just like instead of your local, like your Windows File Explorer that you normally see, this thing, which doesn't give you previews of InDesign and Photoshop files. Even if I do extra large, it doesn't really give you a thumbnail of these. It's pretty basic, right? But Adobe Bridge kind of gives you, let me go to my downloads. It's another file explorer again. It's just a little different looking. But I'm in my downloads folder down here. And we see here lesson 2. Open up lesson 2. And we can see here all those files, but they actually have thumbnails. Here's the Photoshop file. Here's the InDesign file. You get thumbnails that show you a preview of what's in there. When you select them, you should get, let me reset some stuff here. Workspace, reset to saved, or workspace. Yeah, I guess this is the default, but yeah, you could select an item and then kind of you get like file properties and then I don't know, just a bunch of metadata here that shows. I don't find it too useful. That's why I don't like using Adobe Bridge. I don't like clicking it and waiting for it to load up. And anyway, in here they kind of go over Adobe Bridge. What am I looking at? Okay, so yeah, it talks about viewing the lesson document. Just a lot of just reading here that I'm avoiding here, but since it's bringing up pre-flighting, let's talk about pre-flighting real quick. Pre-flight is a way to make sure everything is okay with your document before you save it or send it out. Here's my pre-flight. You get a little pre-flight on the bottom of your document window. I think this is called the status bar. I've got a file here that labels everything. Let me grab it real quick. Oh, break time. Good question. Break time. Since we started kind of late, let's go on break at like 8:15. Normally it's at 8, but we'll take a break at 8:15. So just in 10 minutes. Okay. But yeah, let me go over the workspace real quick. We talked about the workspace on Monday, but let me show you a labeled workspace. If I could find it, what happened to it? There it is. Okay, let's rotate this. All right, so here's like a well, this is this is CS6 anyway, but it's pretty much the same. You have the menu bar at the top. You have your control panel. The control panel is this area here that has a bunch of options like changing your fill and stroke thickness, and if you have like a type tool selected, you'll get type options, paragraph, character options you could switch between. So things like text align and changing the font. Depending on the tool and the object you have selected, the control panel looks different. Menu bar at the top. Most important part is here, you need your file option here to save and export, and you have your window to show any panels that you're missing and to arrange your workspace. View options, change the screen modes, change the display performance, zoom in and out. And of course, they're all useful. You're going to use all of them, but that's your menu bar. Control panel, application bar, menu bar, same thing, right? I don't know why they put a different name there, but tools panel, default panels on the right side. You have your pasteboard or your work area, which is basically the part outside of your actual page or your spread. So just empty areas on the sides. You have your document window. And down there, it's not labeled here, but let's call it the status bar. So at the very bottom is your status bar. It tells you how much you're zoomed in. You could also click this to zoom however far you want. Right now it's at 100%. You could also switch between pages through here. Navigate the pages, click the little arrows, or click the drop down and pick which page you want to be on. But anyways, down there you'll see the pre-flight. It says 1 error. On my end file, we got 3 errors. But if I double click that, it should bring up the pre-flight panel, which looks like this. This is our pre-flight panel. You could double click this to bring it up, or you can go to Window, Utilities. Actually, is it under Utilities? No. Window pre-flight. Where is it? Output. Okay, so Window, Output, pre-flight. So you'll find it there as well. What pre-flight does is it tells you what's wrong with your page. You should probably take care of before you save it and export it. And it tells me here that we got 1 error for text. If I open the dropdown, it says, what is the problem? We have overset text. Overset text means there's text that doesn't fit inside the frame. I can double click on it and it'll take me to the overset text. It tells me here this has some overset text. Now looking at it like this, you might not notice something's wrong. And let me switch back to just normal view here. I'm gonna say arrange. When you want to go back to normal, click arrange and then consolidate all windows. Brings this back to just the one page. Right now I'm in, if we look at the view, I'm in screen mode preview. That's why we're not seeing a lot of stuff here. It's kind of clean looking. But if I press W, I could switch back to normal view. In normal view, you could see stuff on your pasteboard, like the worm and stuff that was hidden. Also, things outside of the actual page show up as well. This is the edge of my paper. This goes beyond the edge of the paper. In normal view, we can see it. In preview mode, it cuts off where the paper stops. So I'm switching between preview and normal view by pressing W. Also in normal view, normally you should be able to see some things. You can actually see this little red plus sign. That tells you that you have overset text. In preview mode, it doesn't show. In normal view, it does. But I think I've also got a bunch of other stuff disabled in my preview mode. If I go to view, extras, we could say show frame edges. That's normally visible in normal view. We can also check other options here. We can say show guides. If we had any guides, I'll let the guides show up as well. They were all disabled by default. I would keep them on in normal view. If you want to get rid of them, just switch to preview mode and then it'll hide those things. But in normal view, just have them all visible so you could kind of see the details of what's going on here. But anyways, this box has that one error that we're seeing in our pre-flight, which is the text frame has overset text. Now again, that means the text doesn't fit. It says enjoy what hour, and where's the rest of it? Right, next page is a new paragraph. Please enjoy our city. It's not a continuation of this, so whatever was supposed to come next, we can't see it. And this little plus sign, it's really tiny, but that lets you know that the text is missing. Let me turn on my magnifier to help you guys kind of see this, because I'm guessing some of you might be on your mobile devices and this is probably impossible to see. So let me how do we dock this? It's supposed to stick to the top. Anyways, okay, it doesn't have to. But here, if I zoom here, you can kind of see in the magnifier, there's a red plus sign. If you click on that, your cursor will change to pick up whatever is in the text box. It actually tells you that we like food, we like to know, blah, blah, blah. It's actually a preview of the actual text in there. But what that lets you do is pick up that text and continue it somewhere else. I just draw another box here. We can see that whatever text was missing there continues in this box. And what was missing is enjoy what our local artisans have to share. Let's eat. Right, so that's what was missing. Now I'm going to delete that. When I delete that, it doesn't actually delete the text. It's still there. If I click the plus sign again, we can see that the text is here again. Right? Delete it. Doesn't actually delete the text. Unless you, it will delete the text if you actually highlight the text and delete it that way. That will actually delete the text. But if you delete the text box, it won't delete the text. It'll just be overset. It'll still be in there. It's just you can't see it because it doesn't fit. The other option, instead of making a new box like this, the other option is to just make this box bigger. So just drag that down. until it fits. You could also double click this little middle box to make it as tall as it needs to fit all of it. And then once you fix that, you'll see that down here it says no errors. That red dot went away. We don't have an error anymore, and in our pre-flight we see that it's empty. There's no issues, no errors. So that's the pre-flight. Let me see what else the book mentions that we should go over here. Let me close the magnifier. Viewing guides. So like I said, the guides were turned off. So you just need to go to view and then turn on the guides. Switch between the views, press W. You could also go into presentation view if you go screen mode presentation, or shift W, or there's a button here you can click, right click actually, and then that lets you switch between preview, bleed, slug, presentation, escape to get out of presentation. But most of the time you're going to be looking at preview mode and normal view. So if you need to right now, go to view, extras, show frame edges, also grids and guides, show guides, because I think we should see those. Should not be hidden in normal view. You can always switch to preview to get a better look at what the final thing will look like. But anyways, it's 8:16. I said we'll take a break at 8:15. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back and then we'll see how to fill these boxes. This will actually be filled with whatever's in that Word document that is included in the lesson file. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna pause recording. Yeah, we're 2 minutes late to break, but we'll take a little bit longer. Okay, so let's continue. Again, I have the end file and the start file. Let me set them both to page 9 and 8 and 9. And got some other differences I noticed, like the background color of this is gray. Here it's a different color. Let me use window arrange to up vertical. There's also another button to change it. Actually, it's not here right now, but yeah, I guess no, it's in the older version. There was a button that you could click to bring up arrange workspace. I'm just gonna set it up from here, window workspace, or arrange to up vertical, and Control Alt 0. Control Alt 0, just to have both pages up next to each other. Gonna got switched around. I like having the end file on this side. Window arrange to up vertical. Okay, so we have our start file, end file. Now let's do the next obvious thing, which is bring in the text for these boxes here. So when we bring in the text, we're gonna have it automatically thread. Maybe not automatically if it's not already set up. If we look at so whenever you have text boxes, like I showed you earlier, whenever we do this, and when you have missing text, you click here and create another box. The text flows from here to this one. And if you go to normal view and turn on view, extras, show text threads, it'll actually show you that text is going to flow from this box out from here. So there's going to be like every box has an output and an import. This is the input, this is the output. So the text is flowing from this one out to this one. That's weird. Why was it gray? Now it's back to green. That's weird. I think it's because, I don't know, display performance or something. But anyways, text flows from one box to another, and if we had more boxes, they could keep flowing from here to there. And deleting the box doesn't delete the text. It just makes it overset. But we're gonna bring a Word file into this box, have it flow from there to there to there. So there's a couple ways to import text. We can do file, and then we can say place, and then I'm gonna go to my downloads, lesson 2, and inside lesson 2 we have our eat.docx, so it's a Word document. I'm gonna say open, and okay, what happened is it automatically filled up here. What it does is, if you have something selected, it's gonna fill that with the text, so make sure you don't have anything selected. So edit, deselect all, Control Shift A if you have anything selected. Like if I had this, for example, selected and I said file, place, it's gonna fill that Word document text in here. So what you need to do is make sure nothing is selected, or select the box that you are gonna fill up, like this one. But in this case, I'm just gonna click the pasteboard, click outside so everything's deselected, or say edit, deselect all. Then I'm gonna say file, place, and then go back to that eat.docx and open it. This time it loads the text onto my cursor. You can see it on my mouse here. Then you can drop it wherever you want. So let's say I want to drop it here. Then I can just click on that and the text fills up this box. Now it doesn't fit all the way, so that's why we have the overset text little icon here again, the red plus sign. So if we want that to go from here to here, we just need to click the plus sign and then click the next box. So we can see that the text goes from there to this box. Again, if you don't see this line here, that's because I turned on extras, show text threads. I'm just gonna hide it now. Then we click this plus sign again and fill up the next box. And now the text fills and there's no more overset text. But we need to set up the formatting here, so our headings are gonna be a certain font. This one, for example. This is Chaparral Pro bold. This is Times New Roman regular. So we need to change it. First, we need to change the regular the whole text needs to be changed. This body text is Chaparral Pro also. Here it's Times New Roman. Alright, but you could highlight this and look for Chaparral Pro, but that's not what we're gonna do. Where is Chaparral Pro? It's not coming up. Probably because I have this filter turned on. Let's make sure our filters are cleared. Now we can see Chaparral Pro. So I could change it this way manually, but this is not the best way. This is not the best workflow, right? This is gonna take too long. If we had 100 pages of this Times New Roman text, it would take too long to change it like this one by one. The other option is to do to go to type, find and replace fonts, and then wherever we have Times New Roman, we could replace it with Chaparral Pro. We just select Times New Roman and replace with Chaparral Pro, and then change all, and that will change all of it. But that's not the correct way to do it either, because this file happens to already have paragraph styles set up for us. So it's important to use paragraph styles just to make editing your text a lot easier. Just updating fonts and making changes like that will be a lot quicker if you have paragraph styles set up. So whoever created this did set up paragraph styles. We can see here there's multiple pages. They all have text in them. Right now they're all, well, these are Chaparral Pro. Let me make sure. Let me file revert. Actually, no, this is how it was. Not sure why this page is Chaparral Pro already. These are already set up correctly. These are not, because we just imported it. But if we highlight any of the other pages, paragraph text, and go to paragraph styles, you'll see there's a style called body copy under city guide. That's what's applied to this text here. So first thing we need to do is select all of this text. Here's a quick way to select all the text in here is to press Command A or Control A, select all. Another way, by the way, to select things, this works not just in InDesign, but other software as well sometimes, or even on the internet when you're highlighting text somewhere. Double click to highlight a word, triple click to highlight a line, quadruple click to highlight, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click 5 times. 4 times highlights a paragraph. 5 times highlights everything inside the text box. So double click for a single word, triple click for a line, quadruple click for a paragraph, click 5 times to highlight everything in that text thread. So from this box to this box to that box. Or just press Control A, Command A. Anyways, once we have all of that highlighted, let's apply body copy. So we open up paragraph styles. If you don't have paragraph styles open, just click on advanced, reset advanced. It should be there, or go to window, styles, paragraph styles. It brings that up. Then click on body copy. So now that Chaparral Pro is applied to all of the text in here. That's step 1. Next is the actual headings. Those are going to be different. If we look inside our paragraph styles, we have subheads. That doesn't look right. We have location header. Right, that one looks more correct. So these are actually location headers. So for the headings, not your average street food, click on location header to apply location header paragraph style. Next is official edible city walking tour. Also apply not body copy, a location header to that one. And then the local farmers market. Triple click that line and apply. Actually, you don't have to, when you're applying paragraph styles, it applies to the entire paragraph. So you don't have to actually highlight the part that you're trying to apply it to, since this entire thing is technically a paragraph. It will apply to the whole paragraph as long as you have your cursor selected anywhere inside that paragraph. So if I click here, local, and click location header, that whole thing changes. I'll switch it back to body copy. If you want to see paragraphs, actually, if you want to see an actual icon that represents the paragraph, if you go to view, again, I'm in normal view. In normal mode, if you go to extras, there should be, maybe not under extras, but it should be here actually. Show frame threads, notes, link, content grabber. Okay, maybe not. There are special characters, like even spaces. Like there's a space here, it doesn't show a space, but you can actually enable to see the actual space symbol. And paragraph symbol is also one of those symbols that you could enable. So I'm not finding it right now. I thought it was under extras. Oh, wait. Structure, story editor, show tagged frames. I have to look it up. They might have changed it. I think in CS6 it was under extras. Might be somewhere else now. Type, maybe under type. Show hidden characters. There we go. So it's under type, show hidden characters, or command alt or control alt I. There you go. So these are the hidden characters you can actually enable. So a space is represented by this dot. So if I press space, you can see again more dots. Paragraphs look like that. So if I press enter or return, each one of these is a paragraph. So it'll appear at the end of every paragraph. So that's how you know this whole thing is one paragraph. This is another paragraph. Because at the end of it, there's that paragraph symbol. This one, or maybe it's at, when I press enter here or return, that's when it shows up. So every time you press return, it adds a paragraph symbol. So you mark like the end of the paragraph by pressing return. Mark it. Return, yeah. So those mark your paragraphs. So paragraph styles affect the entire paragraph. So click anywhere within the paragraph, that whole paragraph will change to that paragraph style. As opposed to character styles, if we look at character styles, we only have two character styles here, drop cap and pop-up location. I don't think those are applied anywhere here. Let me double check the end file. In the end file, we'll create our own. You see here, there's a character style called red, bold, italic. That's not in the start file, so that means we're gonna have to create that ourselves. Why don't we do that so we could see how the character style works? It's different than a paragraph style because it only applies to what you have highlighted. So we need to apply the character style to gourmet chefs in the first block, edible plants in the second one, and eat healthy, eat local in the third one. So look for gourmet chefs. This will be the prototype for our character style. Again, there is no character style for red, bold, italic yet, so we're going to create one based on what we do to this one. So I'm going to highlight this text. I'm going to go here to change my color to local red. I'm also going to make it bold. And I'm also actually going to make it italic. I don't know why it's called red, bold, italic. Because it's only red and bold, it's not italic. But we'll make this one. This font, Chaparral Pro, doesn't actually have bold italic. It just has either italic or bold. Some fonts do have a bold italic. This one doesn't. So I'll just make it red italic. Okay, let's call it red italic since it's only red and italic. So we applied our formatting to these two words. So now we highlight that, and if I have some text highlighted, which I've formatted manually like this, I've changed the font to italic red. If I highlight that text and I click this little plus sign here under character styles, or if I go to the little menu button on the top and say new character style, there's a slight difference. If I do it this way, it'll bring up this window. If I just click this, it won't bring up the window. It'll just create the character style and give it a default name, character style 1. So let me delete that and do it this way, where it brings up the window. It says character style 1 here. You can rename it, call it red italic. Click OK. Now we look at our character styles. We should have something called red italic. There it is. It's under no group, so let's drag it into the city guide group, just so it's organized. Anyways, now if I highlight any text, like this text, for example, like mer, click red italic, it's gonna make it red italic. So let's remove. To remove it, you just we need to click on the none to get rid of it. So red italic, none. There's also drop cap and pop-up location, but we're not using those for this one. So gourmet chefs, the other one we're gonna change is edible plants. Red italic on that one. And then eat healthy, eat local, red italic. So what's nice about this is you might set up your file like this. You might have, again, hundreds of pages, or it doesn't have to be hundreds of pages, but just even a few pages where you're using red italic in different locations. You want to have a consistent design. You don't want to have red italic here and then, I don't know, bold green over here. Like, it wouldn't make sense to. It's just not good design to do things inconsistently, right? Because if you're gonna do red italic here, you should do red italic here as well. So what's nice about that is if let's put it back to red italic. What's nice is we could later change it. Maybe we don't like red italic, or maybe whoever assigned this project to us tells us, hey, get rid of that red italic, make it bold instead. Then what you could do is simply go to your character styles, double click on red italic, and maybe change the name to red bold. And then go to basic character formats, and instead of font style italic, we can change it to bold. And click OK. Now they're all bold instead of italic. Another way is also, let's do this with the color. Let's say we don't want it to be red, instead we want green. And I'll change it to green here. Once I change that to green, because I changed the color of something where I applied red bold to, a little plus sign shows up next to the character style. And then what that means is this is not exactly red bold. It's been modified from what the red bold is supposed to look like. You could right click on it and say redefine style. What that will do is, instead of making red bold red and bold, it'll make it actually green and bold. It'll redefine it to be green instead of red. Right? And because I redefined it, the other places where I had red bold applied also changed to green. Right? So now it would probably make sense to go to my character style and change the name to green bold, just to make sense. But this can be really useful. I hope you guys can see why this is useful and why you should make sure you're using character styles and paragraph styles as you're creating your projects. That way, making changes will be easier in the future. You don't have to do everything one by one manually, and it's also you're less likely to miss things and have inconsistent design. So let me give you like 2 minutes to try that out, and let me know if you have questions. So yeah, if you don't feel like doing it with this project specifically, just create a new file and just create some text. Quick way to create text draw a text box, right click in it and say fill with placeholder text. If you don't have fill with placeholder text, maybe you're using an older version of InDesign that doesn't have that, just go to lorem ipsum generator online and grab some random text and try creating a paragraph style and then try creating a character style. So maybe I'll select this paragraph here and I'll change the font to something, maybe Montserrat. Right, I'll make it Montserrat and I'll increase the font size to 14. What else? I'll also change the color instead of black, or sorry, this is, what am I changing here? Yeah, that's the fill color. This
Sorry
could,
to interrupt, David.
yeah,
How do you show that hidden characters?
yeah, it was kind of hard to find. It's under no, where was it?
Object?
No, type show hidden characters.
Show hidden characters. I got type. Oh, there you go. Got you. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. So it should only, you should only see that in normal view. So you switch to preview mode, those disappear along with everything else. Anyways, I'm gonna highlight this paragraph, apply Montserrat to the font. Montserrat. What's OTF? Just, okay, I don't want OTF, I just want Montserrat regular. Maybe medium? Actually, yeah, medium's fine. I'll do Montserrat medium. So any paragraph formatting you want to do with your paragraph styles. An example of paragraph formatting is if you go to the control panel and switch to paragraph formats, you'll see the type of things that will apply to paragraph styles. Things like text align left, right, center, that will be applied to a paragraph style. Also space before, space after, left indent, first line indent. What else? Drop caps. So let's say my paragraph, I want, let's increase the space after. So every time we have a new paragraph, I don't want the next paragraph to start right after. I want there to be some space between my paragraphs. So I'll go to space after, increase that. Wait, sorry, this is the last line indent. That's not what I want. Oops. Space after is this one. They kind of look the same. There we go. Space after, let's do 0p6. Just a little bit of space between each paragraph. And I think I'm going to decrease the size of this to 12. Another thing, hyphenation. Sometimes you don't want to hyphenate. That would also be under paragraph formatting. If you don't like having like words cut, this is a hyphen, right? When the word doesn't fit on that line, it creates this hyphen and continues on the next line. I don't want hyphenation on this paragraph, so I will click in the paragraph and turn off hyphenate. Right. Other things you can do with paragraphs. Let's just leave it at that for now. I want to balance the column here. What's this? Oh, that's aligned to baseline grid. Never mind. That's the button I was looking for last time, to align to the baseline grid, but we're not going to use baseline grid here. All right, so we're done with our formatting. Well, one more thing, I want to change the color. except if you notice under paragraph formatting, there is no, there's shading color and border color, but the actual character color that's under the fill for the character, that's actually a character style, not a paragraph style. So that might not be applied. Let me double click this fill color though and change it. Make it gray. Let me actually do that through swatches and create a new swatch. Create a new color swatch. I'll use HSB and just pick a gray color. So no saturation, just 15% brightness. So it's a little bit gray. I'll make it more obvious by making it more gray. Go to my swatches, go to that new swatch that I created, make that 20%. It's a little bit brighter. Right, so that's my my paragraph style. Now I want to apply that. I want to create a paragraph style out of that. So I don't have any right now. So just highlight the paragraph or click anywhere inside the paragraph and click the plus sign to create a new style or create new paragraph style. And call this one, I'll just call it body text. Click OK. Now I'll click the next paragraph, go to my paragraph styles, click body text. You can see it applied whatever was there, got applied here. So now all my paragraphs have that paragraph style applied. So it did actually pick up the font color. If we go to paragraph styles and double click that paragraph style, body text, we can go into general or basic character formats. You can see what was changed. Font family is Montserrat, size 12. If we go to a character color, we can see this swatch is applied to it. Okay, so paragraph styles include character styles as well. They include everything. Now to create a character style, let's say we want some, I don't know, some red italic or red bold text again. I'll go to my character styles, make this red, and well, I don't have a bold. I have a semi-bold italic. I'll go with that. And I'll apply that and then go to my character styles and create a new character style. Double click on it, call it, I don't know, highlight text. It's not really a highlight. I'll call it red italic. Okay, so red italic. Then I could just click on whatever other word or highlight whatever text and click red italic and apply that. And then if I ever want to change it, I just go to red italic, double click, and make it, instead of red, maybe green. Click OK. Now they're all green. Anyways, you could do that on a separate file or just do it here. So again, one more minute. Let me just give you to try that out and let me know if you have questions. Okay, moving on. Let's see what we're missing. Again, I'm going to compare it to the end file. Arrange tile up vertical. Control Alt 0. Control Alt 0. I have them nice and side by side here. Let's do the next easy thing here, which is fill this box with eat healthy, eat local. I'm also going to double check if there's a paragraph style applied to this or a character style. No paragraph style we can see. No character style. Actually, no styles applied to this. So We just need to type eat healthy, eat local, all caps. The reason why there's no paragraph or character styles applied to this is probably because it's a one-off. Like there's no other text box like this throughout the document, so no need to create a text style for it or a paragraph style. But we do need to type in eat healthy, comma, eat local. Now you don't have to type it all capital. You don't have to press shift and actually type in capital. Maybe just do the first letter. Eat healthy, eat local. Because it is a sentence, you want to start with the capital letter. But if you want to make something all caps, you just need to go to your paragraph styles. Actually, character styles. Under character styles, there's a all caps button. Actually, it's also under paragraph styles. If you go to paragraph styles, all the way on the right side, if you have it depends how big your window is. If you minimize this, you might not see it. That's why there's this button here that you can click, and then you can see, where is it? Still don't see it. There. Okay, under open type, all, not all small caps. All caps. I don't know why it doesn't show. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. All caps, all caps, all caps. Nope, okay, it's not there. Just check under character styles. It doesn't really matter which one you choose, character or paragraph styles, when you're applying all caps. So I'll just make it all caps by clicking the all caps button. Now everything is capitalized. We also want to increase the font size to fill up the box, roughly like it looks in this one. So we just need to increase the font size, click up until it looks just right. Oh, also the font is letter Gothic standard. So let's change the font to letter Gothic standard. And then decrease it because it doesn't fit anymore. Another thing you're gonna notice might look a little bit different is let me go into preview mode so we could see better. This one has a red outline. This one is just gray. If you want to move around, pan around, hold the space bar. It's a nice shortcut to move things if you want to kind of line it up correctly. The worm is missing. We'll add the worm in afterwards. But if you look here, this E and this E are not lined up nicely. If you press backspace, it doesn't really help. Press delete, deletes the E, so that's not the issue. The issue is the amount of inset spacing. So if you deselect and just click on the box like this, you'll notice that there's this little outline here. This little outline tells you how much inset spacing you have. Inset spacing is the distance from the actual border of the container you put something in. Let me just do one. I'll do an example in a new file. I'll make a little text box here. Let's say All right, and I'll make the box a bit smaller. And let's give it rounded corners, why not? To round corners on a box, you select the little yellow box, click on it, and then drag the yellow diamond to round the corners. So this has no inset spacing. You can see the text goes right up against the edge. Let me give this a border so we can kind of see better. So there is no space between the text and the outline, but here we do have space between the text and the outline. So that's called inset spacing. You change that by going to Object, Text Frame Options, and then here you'll see Inset Spacing. So right now it's 0, but I'll increase that, and you can see now it's got a little bit of distance from the edges. Right, as I increase it more, the text doesn't fit anymore because the box is not big enough, so I have to actually make the box a little bit bigger to fit that, either on 2 lines or on a single line. Double click from a corner to just make the box as big as it needs to fit the text entirely. But there's your inset spacing. So it's under Object, Text Frame Options, Inset Spacing. Back to this file. The inset spacing on this, there is a little bit. If we go to Object, Text Frame Options, we see it's 0p6. If we look at the end file, however, go to Object, Text Frame Options on the end file, it's 0p11. So it's almost double the inset spacing. So we gotta go here and say Object, Text Frame Options, increase the inset spacing. As you can see, as I increase it, the E's start lining up. So at 0p11, can't really see the rest of the text anymore. That's okay. Click OK, and I'll just select Control A, select all the text, decrease the font size until it does fit. And now it's lined up nicely. Looks just like this one. So I have the I have the font size at 28, and I have the inset spacing at 0p11. If your units are different, that means you could right click on your rulers if you see them. Right now mine are set to picas. You can always change them. Let's say if I change it to pixels instead of picas, right click and change it to pixels. If I go to Object, Text Frame Options, now it's showing me it's 11 pixels inset spacing. It doesn't really matter. I'll keep it on picas just because that's what the lesson has it on. And I want to change this thickness of this outline and change the color. So it should be dark red, 2 points. This one is 1.5 points, and it's a gray color. I'm going to change it to dark red, make that 2 points. So now it's exactly like this one. Okay, so now the worm. Well, the worm is there. We just need to bring this closer to the mouth. There was another worm, I think. Or maybe, I don't know. But yeah, there was another worm here. Okay, that other worm is for this paragraph here. This one, we need to move it here. But we need to make sure that we turn on word wrap, because when I move this worm here, I want the text to wrap around it. I don't want the worm to just be on top of it. But let me give you maybe a minute to try this out, or at least get the hang of inset spacing. Maybe in a new document, just create a text box and go to Object, Text Frame Options, and play with the inset spacing. So I'll pause for like 2 minutes, let you guys try that out. Alright, let's continue. So let me show you how to do word wraps on InDesign. I think I actually moved this box. Let me move it back down. It's not supposed to be up there. So I'll just move it down a little bit. Alright, so we need this worm to come here. And the way you enable word wrap is you could see it in the control panel. If you go to up about in the middle, you'll see it says no text wrap. And then we have wraparound bounding box, wraparound object shape, and jump object. I think the one we want here is, well, let's try bounding box. That works. And if we click on wraparound object shape, it'll bring up the text wrap panel. This gives you some more options, but really we don't need this one right now. We'll just set it to wraparound bounding box. Or just click the bounding box button. And actually we do need to go into extra options because we don't want the text to be right up against the worm. We want some space between the worm and the text. So we do need to go to window, text wrap. And you'll notice here there's, this is for the top offset, bottom offset, left and right. And there's a little chain icon here that tells you that if I change this one, they all change equally. We really just want the right side and the bottom, or maybe just the right side, but it doesn't really hurt right now to have the others also affected the same, so I'll just leave it linked. Actually, no, we probably should remove the bottom because I don't really want to push down the bottom text. So I will bring this all back to 0 and unlink this. We just want to change the right side. I'm not sure exactly how much we need to put. If we look at this one, we could kind of see window text wrap. It's set to 0p6 on the right side. So we'll do the same for this one, 0p6. So 0p6 just for the right offset. And then just position that worm where it looks good. Now, once you do that, you are pushing the text a little bit to the right. So that means there's less room for the text in the box overall. So you might need to increase that. And there was like an extra space or line on the bottom. I just pressed delete to get rid of it. Like even if you have empty lines, like if I press return here and I have like an empty line down here, there's nothing there, but if I hide that, I'm still gonna get the actually I guess not. It doesn't say. Maybe it used to, not anymore in the latest versions. It's smart enough to know that there's nothing there, so it doesn't give us a warning about overset text. Actually it does. It is giving me the warning. If I go to pre-flight, you get one error, overset text. Double click on it. Actually, this is a different box. It's this one here. Need to increase that. Now the error is gone. But yeah, it looks like the new version is smart enough to know that even though there's an empty paragraph here, it's empty, so it doesn't give us a warning if we hide that. I think in CS6 you might still get the plus sign if you're hiding an empty paragraph. So I'll just make it tall enough where it looks good. And Control-Alt-0, Control-Alt-0. Let's see what else we need to change. Press W. Make sure no text box is selected when you press W. And compare it again. See what else we need to change. We we still haven't brought that Photoshop file, and also this text should not be up here. Let's make sure these are modified so the text fits where it needs to fit. Not sure why it doesn't fit exactly the way it should here. Probably something here. This is 13.25. 13.25. Everything's pretty much the same. Oh, except for the bold text, I guess. So I guess because I made it bold, it just made it slightly less room in there. So I just need to drag this a little bit to the right so that it fits there normally. So everything's working how it should. So adjust the box sizes if you're noticing things not fitting correctly. Just adjust it a little bit. Okay, now let's bring in that Photoshop file. And I'm also going to drag this up slightly. Just to have like a nice same space between here and here. Alright, so to bring in the Photoshop file, you do it the same way you bring the text. You do File, Place. And then it's berries.psd. So there's also import options you can bring up. If you click this checkbox here, it says show import options. It's really hard to see. It's in blue against the gray background, but it says show import options. If you check that and open it, before it brings in the image, it brings you this image import options window. And here you can check, you can set the color profile and stuff and choose layers if you want. Use Photoshop's layer visibility or keep layer visibility overrides, but we don't really need to worry about that. I'm just going to click OK. And now we could bring in our photo and drop it here. But don't just click. You want to click and drag, make a box. Actually, we have guidelines for this. Let me go to View. Let's switch to normal view. There is a guideline, these purple guidelines here. I'm going to click from here to drag it to here. And it'll bring in the entire image. Now, it brought the whole image without hiding any of it. But we're going to just grab the bottom of the box and drag it up to here. Just crop off the extra part. Also, you can reposition the image within the box. So just click in the middle and drag it up a little bit. I'm not seeing the donut shape. I think that's maybe View, Extras. Grids and guides. I don't know how to enable that, but it's supposed to show. Normally it's there. I don't know. Maybe it's just the new version of InDesign. It's hidden. But there's usually a donut right there you click on. Anyway, so I resized this. Gonna bring this here. Now, whenever I drew the box, I kind of had it a little bit less than, a little bit past the guideline. So it's kind of empty right there in this part. So I'll just click on this button here, fill frame proportionally, just to fill that up. Okay, so that takes care of the image. Next, we need to apply this drop shadow to all of these. I think this is the last thing we'll do before we call it a day. We still have lecture tomorrow, so I don't think I'll assign anything tonight. So for this, we looked at paragraph styles, we looked at character styles. There's also object styles. So for things like drop shadows on an entire text box, that would be an object style. If we click on, well, right now I don't have, oh yeah, I do have it. Here's object styles. We open city guide. We have a few things here. There's cover, nav, category intro, location boxes, subhead text boxes. This one, if I select it, there is no actual object style applied to it. But if you look at the end file, this one does have something called drop shadow applied to it. So it hasn't been created in the start file. So we have to create that. We create it the same way we create the paragraph and character styles. Select whatever has that style applied to it. So this box here has a drop shadow on it. If we select that and go to our object styles and click new, it's going to create a new object style based on that. And it called it object style 1. I'm just going to rename it to drop shadow. You can also, let me delete that real quick. Undo that. Oops, it deleted the whole, it deleted everything off this. So I'm going to click none. Actually, I can't undo that. I have to press Control Z to undo creating the layer style. I mean the object style. I wanted to do it this way. Instead of clicking the plus sign, click this button, new object style, and then just rename it from here. Drop shadow. Really no difference, except doing it from there brings up this window automatically. So created something called drop shadow. I'll drag that into the city guide folder here just to organize it. And now if I select any of these other boxes and I click drop shadow, it should apply that same drop shadow. So it picked up the drop shadow that I had applied on that, created a style out of it. Now I could select anything I want. Like for example, I could click on this box here, and if I click drop shadow, it applies the drop shadow. Right, but I'll undo that because looks like this has another object style called location boxes applied to it. And that's it for this spread. I think that was pretty much everything in this lesson that we needed to cover. We looked at bringing in text from a Word document, creating paragraph and objects, paragraph, character, and object styles. Looked at bringing in an image. Looked at word wrap and inset spacing. Inset spacing on the text box, and then this was called, it's just the right offset on the text wrap. So it's called an offset, but kind of like inset spacing. But yeah, I believe that's all for this lesson. We covered all that. The other pages, there's really nothing else to do. It was only those two pages, 8 and 9, that the changes needed to be made on. So yeah, we're done with that. 9:45, so perfect timing. I will close this. You don't need to save any of this. It's just class lesson. I'll assign you something tomorrow. So let me just give you the sign out code, and you guys can have a nice rest of your evening.